Welcome to the June episode of Motormouth, and we are here at the Boyertown Museum of Historic Vehicles inside the Reading Diner. And I know you can't see from where you're looking, but I'm looking out the windows of the diner, and the museum is pretty much back together.
Pretty much.
It's exciting. This is the first time I've seen it back together.
And it's pretty neat. We got energetic volunteers out there.
We do. They're putting some things back in the display cabinets. Like
And energetic staff members too.
Yes,
Can't forget
them too. Putting up some more lights, so it looks really great. We hope you are going to get a chance to come visit us soon and see the new look. We will have had a grand reopening by the time this airs, but no excuse to not come and take a look at it. And it really is so different from before.
It is.
So,
it is.
Definitely come and see us.
Whole new look.
That's right. If you want to come on a special event to see our whole new look, we got a couple of those coming up. We've got our third annual food truck fair, which is coming up Saturday, June 17th. And we're pretty excited about that. We've got lobster rolls returning this year. We had them the first year. They're very popular. We couldn't find a vendor to do that for us last year, but we have one this year. So come get your seafood. Mr. Softy will be there, of course, in a Boyertown bodied Mr. Softy truck, and a variety of other things. French fries, hot dogs, burgers. We got different kinds of food for everybody. So you'll have to come out and see us then. Again, that's Saturday, June 17th, and a special low price for that day. It's $5 to get into the fair, but it also gets you into the museum, which is a really good deal. And we're going to have blacksmithing going on that day. We're going to have a little display set up of Boyertown Body Works blueprints, because they did used to build food trucks here, like Mr. Softy and a couple of other kinds, donut trucks, pizza trucks, Chinese food trucks. So come here and see the blueprints as well. And we'll have some entertainment out in the fair also. The food truck fair is held in our parking lot. So if you want more information on that, please visit our website, www.boyertownmuseum.org. If you're on Facebook, you can check out the museum's Facebook page. We have a whole event page just for the food truck fair with all the information you need for that event. Or give us a call here at the museum, 610-367-2090. That's our next really big event. And then after that, we're gonna gear up for Duryea Day, which will be Saturday, September 2nd. And that's over at Boyertown Community Park. I'm sure we'll be
there.
roving
the
the fields and the woods, looking for really cool cars and trucks that have decided to visit us this year. We always have a great selection. And of course, the museum will be open that day too. So those are our big two events. Again, blacksmithing on Saturdays, but come any day of the week, 7 days a week, we're open, and you can check out all the new stuff here. Our hours are 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. So we hope to see you here. And it's nice to be back.
Yes, welcome back.
I missed you.
I know. I missed
the
you
show.
too.
I missed the show.
There was nobody to
And there
harass.
was such a cool car too that I I do miss being harassed.
Yeah.
I miss harassing back too.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah. So.
And I missed a cool car,
Yep.
and that's too bad. But we've got another cool car tonight that we'll get to.
Oh, absolutely.
And a cool story, and we're going to get to that later. But you have something.
I do have something
to talk about first. So
spread out all over
yeah, it's
here.
all over here. I'm looking at upside down, and it's interesting upside down. So
Okay.
I'm.
Okay, I am going to be talking about a company out of Los Angeles. It's called the Republic Tool and Die Corporation. Ever hear of it? Why not? Okay. Anyway, I guess they're sort of around today. About 25 years ago or so, they were acquired by Scott's Lawn Care business, which has nothing to do with the
Tool
business.
And Die?
Yeah, who knows? But anyway, maybe it's to make parts for fertilizer spreaders or something. I don't know. Anyway, Republic Tool and Die Corporation was more well known for making like promotional toys and that sort of stuff, especially back in the 60s and 70s. And the first picture you're going to see there is a Phillips 66 yacht. And that was a promotional toy that you could buy through Phillips 66 gas station. Cost you $4.98. You're just looking at a picture of the boat itself. The box that it came in, you could kind of change that around and it would be the dock of the boat also. So it was kind of a neat little thing. Then the next picture is a truck that you could also get through a gas station for some sort of premium price, or not a premium price, but it was a premium for a price. There, that's better.
Okay.
Okay, so that was two little things, a boat and a little tanker. The tanker kind of reminds me of the items you could buy at Hess Gas over in this area. Okay, the next item, now we're getting into some more interesting stuff, some serious toys, okay?
Ooh.
Okay, Corvette plastic riding toy. Okay, manufactured again by Republic Tool and Die Corporation. You're looking at a picture of that. It was found at select Chevy dealerships in 1966. And you can see it looks like a mid-60s Corvette. You sit on the top and you see the steering wheel coming up through the hood. And that's pretty much how you drove it. And so you'd motivate by putting your feet on the ground. No, it's just a little one. It's a little one, and it's for little kids. Like your son would probably love it.
Yeah.
So if I find one,
I'm sure it only costs
a lot.
a couple $1,000 bucks.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. So again, this company, Republic Tool and Die, was popular for these promotional items. Again, the yacht, the tank truck, this Corvette toy. So let's see. It says, okay, that was 25 inches long, that Corvette. So you had to be pretty small. Is that 25? 25, something like that.
Pedal car?
It wasn't even a pedal
Not
car.
even,
You
but
just kind of
that
straddle it
size,
and
yeah.
move. Okay. Well, now we're going to get into some even neater stuff. Is they made drag racing games.
Ooh.
And in the drag racing games, you have a controller with a real 4-speed shifter for each car. You had a 20-foot track. Depending on which one you got, you could have a 20-foot or a 30-foot track, and this is drag racing. They had a Plymouth Shutdown, was one of them, where you could get it through a Plymouth dealer. Get a Dodge Scat City, again through a Dodge dealer. And Sears also had one, and it's called the Sears Funny Car 4-in-the-floor drag strip. So they're 5-inch long cars, and you actually powered them. You know, I'm not exactly sure, but you could shift. And I was reading a forum online, and they explained how you shift it. And basically, I think the electrical signal was in segments of the track. So in first gear, you're in the first segment, and the second segment, you would be in second gear. Well, if you didn't shift, the car would just sort of shut off or go to a stop. So that was kind of interesting there. Well, Republic also made road racing games. One of them was the American Motors Javelin Trans Am racing game. So you could get that through the American Motors dealer. There's also another Dan Gurney Mercury Cougar game, so through your Mercury dealer. Then through Chevrolet, you had the Camaro road race game. And you're gonna see some pictures here of that. And the first picture is a couple cars there, and on the left of the picture is the Camaro, and on the right is a Corvette, and we're talking mid-60s again. Okay, next picture, you just see the top of the box that it came in. The next picture shows the cars on the track, and if you look at the picture carefully in the lower right-hand corner, you can see like a little billboard, that's part of it, and it says, "See the USA in your Chevrolet." And that was their saying with who?
Dinosaur.
Very good.
See the USA.
you get a silver star.
I do. Wait, where'd it go?
But and there's little scenery that's on the track. You can see like graphics on it. And you can also look at picture 7. You can see them a little better. Just different scenes of the U.S. And so these cars are zipping around. And, you know, I was looking at this, and I remember when I was a kid, my friend had a game very, very similar to this. And I'm wondering if it was the Chevy game or the American Motors or the Mercury game, or, you know, if somebody else had one. But it was the same kind of thing. These cars have batteries to it, and they just go. And they come up to like a crossroads, and I think it would automatically change. So one car would go that way, and the next one would go this way, and you just try to catch each other, I guess. So it was pretty interesting.
Wow.
So anyway, that was the Camaro road race game.
I
or
like the
road
little
rally.
like town scenery they put on the board too.
Yeah. Well, it was town scenery. If
There's
you
a
look
little
at it
church,
close.
it looks like.
Well, this
oh,
is
no.
Washington, D.C.
Yeah,
here.
there's
What is it?
the
Hoover
Washington
Dam.
Memorial.
And so it was all, you know, different famous places in this country.
Yeah, I think the Golden Gate Bridge, it looks like, is over there. And
So,
cool.
so this it was from 1967. Also, 1967 was the debut of the Camaro. So that was one of the promotional things. Another promotional thing was a 30-minute movie called The Camaro. Detailed its development, was shown on television and in theaters. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and I didn't find anything about that on the internet anywhere else or nothing. And actually, this road rally game I did find on the internet, and I bid for it, and I lost. Okay, I'm not real good with the eBay thing yet. And then I saw another one, and it was even lower price, and I wanted to get it here, and I figured the shipping would be like astronomical because
probably.
it was Saturday when I found it. So anyway, so they're out there, and it's just neat. And if you want to go see other pictures, you can go online and you know, check it out. Okay, I have another promotional thing for the Camaro, and it was a line of women's fashion by a New York designer. Now, I'm not really big into women's fashion, you know, but this is it. And it was the David Crystal collection. And I found out, I thought that was the designer, but David Crystal was a manufacturer rather than a designer.
Yeah, I never heard of that.
You have or you have not? Okay.
No.
Okay.
Crystal, like.
Crystal.
Okay.
Okay. Like glassware crystal.
Okay.
Anyway, the company started in 1906, started by David Crystal, later headed by his son. In the early 30s, the company was known for their women's suits and coats. In the 40s, expanded to sportswear and became a leading producer of sporty ensembles. Let's see, Bill Blass was part of that. I heard of him because his name was on some Lincoln Town cars back in the 80s. Okay, that's how I connect things. 40s through the 50s, made dresses, inexpensive suits. 1957, special line, Christian Dior Jr. designed for David Crystal.
Okay, now that's a name I know.
Christian Dior.
Yeah,
Did I say it right?
Yeah, he's pretty high end now.
Oh yeah. 1952, this company signed an agreement with, I'll probably say this wrong, Lacoste or Lacoste?
That I don't know.
Oh, come on, you know that. There it is, right there. And I think...
we'll go with Lacoste.
Okay.
Lacoste.
1966, they made shirts and polo shirt dresses in the U.S. They also became the owner, David Crystal Company became the owner of Izod and Haymaker labels. You've heard of Izod? Mm-hmm. Like the little alligator deal, crocodile. Okay. So anyway, so this company is pretty big. And in 1967, they got involved with Chevrolet, or maybe 1966, late. And they were making dresses for women. And if you look at the next picture there, there's one, and it shows, this is out of a newspaper, David Crystal Gazing. And they show 3 ladies standing there. And there's the Camaro, and it's kind of advertising both the Camaro and these dresses, and kind of interesting. That's out of the Reno Gazette. That's from January '67. Have another one here. Why a modern woman crystal gazes. Only a crystal gazer can tell exciting direction can tell the exciting direction fashion is taking, and that's why the very chic are hurrying here to see the very new and vervy
Vervy.
fashion from our new David Crystal Camaro collection. And they
Groovy.
talk about that, and that's out of let's see, Benton Harbor, Michigan
Wow.
advertisement. And I have a couple others here, and it's talking about the women now are more and more drivers and owners of cars, and they're predicting in the future is going to be more than half the drivers in this country are going to be women. So, that's why they're advertising this sporty little car, the Camaro, as well as the women's dresses. And if you go to the following picture, if I got this right, it should be a photograph of three ladies wearing dresses, and you can see the nose of a Camaro there also. And it's some pretty interesting stuff here. And of course, I asked Kendra if she had any. She doesn't, but it would have
I
been
wish
neat.
I did.
Yeah,
They're pretty snazzy.
snazzy.
Yeah.
Snazzy.
Groovy. And vervy.
Groovy.
And vervy.
Vervy.
Yes,
yeah,
I like them
yeah,
a lot, actually.
Yeah. So that's it. So again, the reason I'm bringing these up is the connection to the 1967 Camaro, which actually debuted on September 29th of 66, but it was a 67 and
Model.
it's 50 years, okay? And so it's kind of interesting. Camaro, quite an iconic car, I guess, you see, and we, as soon as I'm done here, we're going to trot out and take a look at a 67 Camaro that our guest has, and I think I'm ready to do that right now.
I'm not going to be able to hold you back, am I?
Okay, no.
Yeah, no.
So we're going to trot out there, right?
Okay, we'll trot.
Well, we'll walk. No running in the diner.
Yes, no, don't do that.
Okay.
Yeah. But we'll meet you out by the gas station where we're going to take a look at this really neat Camaro. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we talked about the Camaro dresses, so now we have to have a car to go along with those dresses. And we are here with Zach Straits, and this is his gorgeous car that he brought for us. Gorgeous? No, it is gorgeous. This is a really cool story. And Dan, before we get to you, Zach, I'm going to ask Dan to explain how you found Zach, and as you'll see as we start talking, this great story. So.
Okay. I guess when we figured out the 50th anniversary of the Camaro was coming up, I wanted to have a 67 Camaro here. And I figured, well, they're a dime a dozen. Maybe not a dime a dozen, but it seems like every show I go to, there's Camaros. And so I started asking around to Chevy people and stuff. Somebody had one, it was like perfect shape, but it was a 68, didn't work. I got a phone call from somebody. He says, I know somebody who has a 67. It was a Chevy dealership. I called him up, and yeah, he has one, but it's all in pieces. There is another gentleman I talked to. His is highly modified. We wanted a stock one. You don't get much more stock than this. But anyway, and then there's a gentleman, Terry Zerby. And if you remember back a few months ago, he had 55 Chevy, black 55 Chevy here. We actually had two of them. He was one of the owners. And he gives me a call and says, I know somebody who has a 67 Camaro. It's all stock. And he gave me Zach's contact information. I got a hold of Zach, and here we are. Here's the car. And
so thank you, Terry.
Yeah.
For pointing us in the right direction. So.
Yeah. And so you're on. Tell us about your car.
Tell you the story. Okay.
Yeah, great story with this car.
This is well, it's pretty tough. I hate to say this, I'm a Ford guy, but I own a Camaro. The situation is I'm an adopted kid from birth. Had never met my family, and in 2006, a guy that, Roger Michael, that does body work, paint work on cars I tinker and restore, was going to California for a conference. It's like, well, that's where I was born. And I said, I said, well, maybe I can go out there and do a little research and just tag along with him. So I was on a weekend trip, and so I had my mother's name, was all I had, for my adoption paperwork, and that was really it. I had address where she lived at. So I started going to the different addresses, and to not much success. So I finally end up at the public library. I'm looking for property records, can't find anything that matches up. But a little lady comes up to me and she says, the Mormon Library is here in LA. They have records that's not on the internet. You'll find things here you couldn't find anyplace else. So she gave me the piece of paper. Here, there's open on Saturday. So I drive straight that morning to the Mormon Library, and these little ladies, they're willing to help me. And I told them the story. I said, all I have is a name. They said, well, unless we find your mom's maiden name, we're not going to have much success. So I said, well, but they said, there's microfilm here in this library that's nowhere else. And they said people stayed put in L.A. and got remarried. My mom had had an older child, a boy, and then gave me up for adoption. So I started looking at marriage records, and sure enough, within like 15 minutes, I found where she had remarried. I found in that was her maiden name. And it was Nixon. It's like Nixon. And so,
he was from California too.
well, I'll think he was, but yeah, but he was out that way. And so we started researching, and sure enough, I go to hospital records, and through her maiden name, I found my brother's name, Greg Pierce. And we're looking through the information, and he said, where was you born? And I said, August 14, 1959. He said, well, here you are. Well, I'm not supposed to exist. I was adopted from birth. And it was so in the records, Baby Pierce, 1959. So that's me. So it confirmed everything. I'm writing all this stuff down, and then the guy that says, help me, he says, well, you have a sister? I says, well, yeah, I'm adopted sister. And he said, well, here's a girl, 2 years younger, call it Baby Pierce. It's like, wow, okay, I got a sister. Birth dates didn't match to my adopted sister, but I said, oh, that's pretty cool. So I write that information down, go straight to peoplefinder.com, find addresses, start making phone calls. None of the phone numbers work. So I just drive to the last address that my brother and mother showed up at. Knock on the door. Little lady comes to the door. I said, do you know Greg Pierce and Darlene Sipe? Yeah, I bought this place from them. I'm hanging on every word at this point, saying, it's like, what? They said, she must still be around. She went to a file and pulled out a piece of paper, no name, just had a phone number on it. And she said, I don't know what this number is, and hand it to me. I called that number immediately. A guy answers the phone. I said, is this Greg Pierce? And he said, yeah. And I said, my name's Zach Straits. We might be related. And he said, really? And I said, your mom's name, Darlene Nixon Pierce Sipe? And he said, yes, it is. And he said, is. So I'm hanging on every word. And I said, well, did she ever live at? And I had my address, 122 West Anaheim Boulevard. And he says, let me ask her. At that point, my heart is doing like this. Just amazing. It's like, how can all this happen so quick? Well, he comes back on the phone. He said, yes, she did. I said, well, Greg, we might be more than just related. We might be brothers. And he said, hold on. So I'm thinking, it's like, I just dropped a bomb here, and what am I getting myself into? Well, so I tell him, Greg comes back on the phone, and he says, hello, brother. We got a sister, too. And I said, well, Greg, if it's for you just to tell Darlene that she put me with good family. I had great parents, had a great upbringing, and if it's just for you to tell her that, I'm happy with that. But I'd love to meet you if that's your wishes. He came back on the phone a couple seconds later and said, we want to meet you, drive now. So all this time they've been in East L.A. So I'm thinking, where are they? Got to be right down. They're around the corner. And he said, we're in Kingman, Arizona. I said, oh, boy. Well, I know where Kingman, Arizona's at. It's on the way to Grand Canyon out of Vegas. Been there. And so I start driving. And first I called my wife. I said, should I do this? And she says, yeah, God got you this close. There's a reason that you're going to Kingman. And so I started driving. Next morning I show up at this place, and this guy walks out, and he looks like me. It's like, I never met a blood relative before. So we're getting to know each other, and Greg tells me, he says, Mom wanted you and I to get to know each other first. I thought I was an only child, and she committed to your parents, your adopted parents, that she would never make contact, that she was a woman of her word, and unless I tried to find her. And so we're talking about 10 minutes. He's telling his story, and we're just really connecting. And about this time, a little 72-year-old gray-haired lady walks out of the bedroom. She'd been listening to the whole conversation all the time. Walked out, and we just immediately started, tearing up. I'm an emotional guy, and so she. And so we sit there, and she starts telling me the story about why. And I says, it's not really that important. I'm here meeting you now. And we just developed a bond. Well, she said, well, what have you done for 40-some years? So I have my laptop computer out, and I pull it out, and there's pictures. So I'm going through all the pictures, and the first thing she says was like, why has every picture got a car in it? And I said, well, why not? Yeah. And she said, do you like muscle cars? I'm thinking, how cool is this? As my mom knows what a muscle car is, And she said, well, your grandmother was the original little old lady from Pasadena. And in 1967, she sold her 58 Ford station wagon, and she wanted a fast car. So she went and special ordered this, a 67 RSSS Camaro, 350, 295 horse, but she did some different things to it. Usually these were bucket seat, hot rod, 4-speed cars. She wanted comfort. She wanted the kids to be able to sit beside her. So she ordered it with a bench seat, which is really rare, air conditioned, tinted windows, power steering, and all that stuff with all the performance goodies. So from there, my grandmother she kept everything. She didn't let anything go. This car has every bit of paperwork with it, from the day that she ordered her diary entry, the day she checked on it, to the day she picked it up, is all in the board here. When you come to the museum, you'll be able to see it, all the history here. And and then she's kept the original keys with the original key tag. She's kept the bill of sale, the order form, the check stub. We actually found the check stub where she paid $3,508.61 for the car. I've got suitcases that have almost every gallon of gas that ever been ran through the car, receipts in suitcases. All the documentation, all the history of the car.
Tell us about
the little special interest one here on the bottom.
Yeah, that's
well,
the neat thing.
Adding to the story, when I met Greg for the first time, he's telling me the story of the car, and he says he had been airborne many times over a railroad track in L.A. with Grandma driving it. So Grandma was truly a hot rodder, And what's evidence of it is documentation. There's 2 speeding tickets here that she got from the same police officer in the same month. So evidence that she was a hot rodder. But it's got tons of documentation with it. So, and we're just so glad to have it here on display for y'all. So the other side of the story, do you want to talk about the bicycle?
Of course. We want to know the deal with the bicycle here. So
well, I collect old boys' bikes, okay? And not knowing this, my brother calls me up one day after the car came to Virginia. He said, can you find a gold Swin fastback? I said, I've not seen one forever. I mean, they're hard to come by. He says, well, Grandma bought me a 1966 gold fastback when she got the Camaro. And we actually have 8mm film of him riding a bicycle just like this around the car and around Grandma. So last year I was in Chicago at the Muscle Car Corvette Nationals. A guy wheels this out to sell it. He didn't even put the sign on it to sell it. I bought it immediately. So it's sort of it goes with the car, and Greg was just so excited when he heard about that. So
and I didn't notice this until right now that you have the card on the spokes.
You have to put the card on the,
You notice how they sounded, I remember as a kid, they sound exactly like a motorcycle.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
There's many a Babe Ruth card probably destroyed because you did that. But it's been a neat story. unfortunately, I lost my mom only 2 years after meeting her, but we just developed a great relationship. So to continue the story real quick, if we have time, so there's a girl missing here, my sister. You know, we just have a date of birth. So my mom's health started deteriorating, so we're really desperate. We really want to try to find this girl, you know. For some reason, my brother had not been married at that time, never been married at that time, had no children. My wife, Brenda, and I have no children. And we don't know the story, you know, to finish it out, to put it in, you know, not put it in, but just put the pieces together. So we find this website called adoptionangels.com, and we type in that this child was born this date, which we had from the birth records. We type in that the mother was a typographist, which was part of the non-identifying information. The next morning, my wife calls me at work. She said, bawling. She said, we found her. We found a girl named Susie in Portland, Oregon. Everything matches up. Now, this is before DNA tests, okay? Mm-hmm. This is in 08. And that's right. And sure enough, I told my wife, I said, you make the call. And so she calls, and Susie answers the phone. She says, I was just on the computer last night looking for family. And here she had been looking for us all along. She had typed in the exact same thing on the non-identified information on the Adoption Angel site or a site like it and picked up. So we immediately make arrangements. I get to call my mom and tell her, it's like, you're a grandmother, and we found your daughter. Mm-hmm. See, there's just a special connection there. And so we fly to Vegas, and she brings the two kids, Andrew and Hannah, and her husband Bob. They all come along, and we all drive down to Kingman, and I get to introduce my mom to her daughter.
Wow.
So it's pretty awesome. And we just developed a great relationship. She came, spent Christmas with us. We did a lot of frequent flyer miles going to Las Vegas for other reasons other than people go to Las Vegas. And so, yeah, we developed a great relationship. So the story continues with the car. The car was, I mean, I restore cars as a hobby. I've done several. And the plan was to immediately start taking it apart. Well, Tom Cotter found out about it. Tom Cotter writes the books, the Barn Find books. Yes. Tom actually just finished his trip in a Model T coast to coast last week, or 2 weeks. He just ended up in L.A. last night, driving a Model T across country.
Okay.
And Tom, a great guy, he told me he said he wanted to put in the book. So he put the car in the book called 50 Shades of Rust, which is a pretty cool name. And so it was featured in there, and then it got picked up and went to Carlisle GM Nationals for a feature display. It just got back from the Trump Concours d'Alliance on the 18th green at the golf course in Charlotte. It's been to Chicago Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals. So I can't wash it because everybody likes the dust for some reason. So y'all are going to have fun with it. Explain. It's like, why is this dirty, dusty Camaro in your museum for a while?
We'll have to keep our cleaning volunteers off of it.
Yeah, don't touch that one. Rope that one off.
It's historic dust.
Exactly, historic dust. So the plan is you know, after probably you all are done with it, I'll probably start taking it apart because it'll go to Hannah and Andrew. They'll be their car to stay in the family. That was a commitment to Mom that would never be sold. And we've had tons of offers on it, and I've had to say no a lot, and it's a real easy no. And so that's the plan. That's the story of the car. Any questions you all have?
So yeah, it's all original, as you can see. Yep. You know, if you can see my hand through the windshield, okay. So it does have a lot of Arizona dust.
Arizona dust and Virginia dust.
And Virginia dust too. But you were saying, you know, you've left it as is. You were pointing out on the fenders here. You can see marks here, and that's from the car cover. Yeah. Just with the wind. Yeah.
My brother was trying to really preserve it. He did a great job preserving the car. He put it up on blocks, had motorhome tire covers over it, and had a tarp on it. And but hadn't ran since '92. It still has 1992 California license plates on it. I tried to get it running after it came to Virginia, and I think because I'm a Ford guy, it probably didn't like me working on it. But it gave me a lot of fits. But finally I figured out my brother apparently had moved the spark plug wires one over as an anti-theft device.
Yeah.
And once I moved the spark plug wires in the right rotation, it fired up and runs great.
Wow.
Now stopping, yeah, not too good. Emergency brake is about all it's got. But yeah, it runs great. So I guess a Ford guy can fix a Chevy. So. Yeah.
But yeah, you were talking about, you know, how the paint's off.
Yeah. Oh,
and you were pointing out other things. You mentioned there's like an alarm in here because it was an LA car, and there was also another anti-theft device on
little
the vent window
locks,
here.
yeah.
And you know, it's just a neat car, and so
It's going to be fun. When we had it at Carlisle, people were asking. It's like we did a little vote, and a lot of people said, "Leave it alone," you know. And other people said, "No, you got to restore it. People got to see it." But yeah, right now it's a car with a story. When I finish it, it'll be a Camaro first, shiny, and then it'll be a story second. Right now it's a story, then a dusty car. So
and
we'll see.
right now, you know, these barn finds and all original cars, I mean, they're really, you know, people really like them. And you mentioned Tom Cotter.
Yeah.
Who's Tom Cotter without original car? You know,
Exactly.
he would just be another person.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's kind of made a name for himself. And it's really neat. And you go to a car show and you see an all original one, and, you know, it attracts people.
Yeah.
So.
We had this at Brad Hoffman's show in Hampton over the winter, and there's everything around it was shiny, all these fancy cars, and this thing's over in the corner with a couple bicycles displayed, and the crowd was constantly coming over because they want to hear the story of what it is. And it's a blessing to me because I get to tell the story, and you can tell I like to talk. But it's cool. People need to hear that because all the whole story about Lost Family, the TV show with our car guy, Chris, that used to be on Overhauling. He's doing that TV show called Lost Family. And I've got to talk to Chris about this kind of stuff. We just sort of got a little bit of a connection. But, you know, people want to hear stories of hope like that. That there is a chance, you know, that you can find somebody. And since doing it, Brenda and I have, you know, really been on a journey. And I'll say this real quick. Latest, I might have a lead on who my father is. Through now DNA testing. I sent my DNA test, and I get funny. Susie sends me the DNA test for Christmas present. I'm thinking, it's like, this might not be good. I says, what if it comes back that we're not brother and sister, that this is all paperwork mixed up? She said, I'm keeping you anyway. So we immediately get the DNA test back. A few weeks ago, right on top is Susie, you know, right there. And then underneath it is another lady, and has a very similar match, but no matches to Susie. So, okay, this is either my sister or my dad's daughter, or my first cousin. Yeah. So we're now communicating back and forth. Last night we were still communicating back and forth through Ancestry, and trying to put the pieces together to see if it possibly that I have a sister in Maryland and some more family. So
About that.
Yeah. So it's pretty awesome.
So again, you're going to leave the car as is until a little bit down the road.
It's down the road.
We'll start.
You know, yeah. I got a couple other restoration projects ahead of it. So
I read. You know, I was talking about this article I saw online from Barn Finds, and somebody on there says, "What are all those cars in the background?" And you had to explain your other cars.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and you were like Fords and stuff. But,
yeah, there's a Rambler mixed in there too. I took a lot of flack over, but
okay,
that was
right.
okay.
So.
I like all of them. So.
Yeah. So, but this is neat, you know. And I looked inside, all original there and there under the hood, and you viewers have to come down out and watch. Out and look at this car.
Yeah.
This is neat.
It's a time capsule.
And yeah, you know, I'm kind of drooling over the car, sort of, and but to listen to your story too. I mean, it's like two neat stories. One car related, and one is family.
Yeah,
it's neat how they work together that way.
We have made sure there's no scorpions or snakes inside the car.
Okay.
Before we pulled it off the trailer from Kingman, Arizona, straight there, Brenda said, I want you to check that thing over close. I want nothing crawling out of it because it was in the desert. And sure enough, there's nothing in there, as far as I know. I need to sign that waiver.
Looks like a tarantula down
That
there,
could be, yeah.
but there's no scorpions.
You never
Good.
know.
So,
No, it's neat. It's like you said, people flock to it. You can just tell looking at it. There's a good story
Oh, yeah.
behind it, and that makes it a lot more interesting than, you know.
Well, Jenny has her own Facebook page.
Oh yes, I was going to say her name is.
Her name is Jenny. Grandmother named the car Jenny as soon as she got it. So
I was going to ask you if that was your name or that's her.
Jenny. That was her name. That's what my brother Greg told me. So she has Jenny the Camaro as her Facebook page, and she has several hundred followers. And then we'll post stuff like this on there. And please go out and like the page. It's sort of something fun that we do. And because people ask the question about, want to follow the restoration, follow its journey, and it's got a lot of trailer miles on it here, recently. But it's fun, and it adds a personal element to the car hobby.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, I know a lot of car hobby guys, and you write a check and you pick up a car, and that's great, and I'm glad we're preserving so many of them. But preserving the story of some of the cars in here, especially, historic as they are, that's the main thing, I think.
Yeah.
Is keeping that documentation. So.
Oh yeah, sometimes how they were used and by who and what for is a lot
Absolutely.
more interesting sometimes than the car itself. But and you said earlier it's a time capsule, and it really is. You made reference to this board that's out in front. You'll have to look. There's a whole bunch of documentation on it, and it's just neat little glimpses of its history that, thank goodness, she was we'll call her a pack rat. I can sympathize. The same problem, but it's neat that she saved all that stuff, because now you can look back at it and.
Yeah, it's amazing. My brother Greg, he'll call me up and he said, I found something different. When he found the check stub, where she wrote the check for the car, it's like, who keep, checks are from 1967. He's found so much stuff. Well, I'm pretty sure, I haven't been looking for the build sheet, but it's never been, I'm sure that's underneath the back seat if it's not roached from all the heat from the Arizona desert, but hopefully remnants of that are still in there. But it's pretty cool to have all the other history with it.
Do you know, you said it has a 92 plate. Did she drive it up to 92, your grandmother?
My mother did,
Okay.
and my brother, Greg.
Okay.
Yeah, they drove it, up until 92 and then parked it. It had a couple issues, and at that point, I'm just so glad they preserved it the way they did. Because,
Good thing they were in the desert and not the wet, salty roads out here, probably.
right.
Yeah, I've been underneath it, and there's no rust. That's why a lot of people try to buy it. It's like, you don't find a car like that. It's like, nope, not for sale. I was telling Dan earlier when my brother told me that he had been airborne over many a railroad track, riding with grandmother. When I put it up on the lift at home, it's like, there's quite a few scrapes underneath it, evidence that it's had some sparks coming out from underneath it where she's been airborne and landed hard. But yeah, wow. She used it up pretty good, but it was maintained well, so and that's okay.
She sounds like a fun lady.
Yeah, I wish I could have met her. Oh, yeah. It was so neat. She was an Arthur Murray dance instructor. So was my mom. Brenda tells me, it's like, what happened to you? It's like, that's one thing I didn't get. So I don't have the dance ability.
Didn't get their coordination no?
I did not. Yeah.
Well, and you graciously drove a good distance today. We have to thank you for making the journey today. And it's going to be here throughout the summer. So please come on out and check it out. When you come to the food truck fair, it'll be here. You got to check it out then. And like Dan said, make the time to come out and give it a look in person.
Oh, yeah.
It's quite special.
Yeah. Thank you. This has been real. It's an honor to have it here. I think it's neat to share the story and definitely share the car as it is, because it's definitely the dustiest thing you've got in here. So.
Yes, but we have some other things that might compete with it.
Yeah.
They're just not in here right now. But
cool. Okay. I seen something sitting outside is pretty cool. So
Yep.
yeah.
That's one of the things I was
Some of
thinking
them.
of.
Okay. All right. Cool.
But no, it looks great, and I think it's neat that it's as is.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Well, that was pretty cool. That was a great story.
Pretty cool. Yes.
Yeah. Good.
Yes.
Good job finding finding that.
Well, thanks.
I'm impressed.
In fact,
I'm impressed.
I see a finder fee I have to pay out now because the guy who got us in contact is out here somewhere.
Yes,
Right now.
Terry walked in. I saw
Yep.
he missed Zach. Well, I'm sure he
Yeah.
knows Zach's story, but that's pretty cool. And
Yep.
thank you, Terry, for putting us in touch with Zach, and thank you, Zach, for making the trip. We
Yeah.
drove several hours to
Yes.
get here, so we owe him.
Owe him.
To get him some dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sausage or something.
That's right.
Yeah.
We can do that. And again, that car's going to be here for a couple months, so definitely find time to come visit us this summer and check out Jenny the Camaro. She might move to a different location in the museum. She might not be in front of the gas station, but come find her. She'll be here. And Zach was telling me, too, he also has a video to go with her, too. We're going to
Yes.
have set up with the car and other things that we didn't even show you on TV will also be along with the car. So please come out and make the time to see it. It's really neat. So we're back here in the diner, and we got some viewer mail.
Got some viewer mail.
Viewer mail, which
Yeah.
is pretty cool. We had a viewer who clipped out a book review that he had in a magazine for a book called Preston Tucker and His Battle to Build the Car of Tomorrow by Steve Leto. Anyway, which is pretty neat. Of course, we had the Tucker panel.
Right.
Geez, that's a little over a year ago now, I guess.
I think about a year and a half.
Yeah, of the gentlemen who are rebuilding or building a Tucker, his car that he didn't build.
Right.
He had to
I
his original car
I
that he
can't
had to
remember
kind of
the name.
modify because the technology wasn't there to build what he had envisioned. But Preston Tucker's grandson was here as
yep.
well. And but anyway, so there's I guess a new book out about Preston Tucker. And I was reading this review. It has a forward in it by Jay Leno, which is of course he knows his cars. And it tells a little. I mean, obviously it's a book review. They want you to go buy the book, but it sounds like a neat book. I thought the story about him. Let me see, I'm making sure I get this right. Cadillac. His first job was with Cadillac. He was like an office errand boy, mail clerk type thing. And it says in here about to make him do his job more efficiently and quicker, he wore roller skates.
Wow.
Which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
And I think a good indication of how his brain
Yeah.
worked. He's a little
Yes.
eccentric, an interesting guy. So anyway, I thought that was neat. Thank you for this review. Again, the book is called Preston Tucker and His Battle to Build the Car of Tomorrow. If any of you are interested in learning more about Tucker, and they have actually the photo they have here, which I think is funny, is not of Preston Tucker. It's of Jeff Bridges as Preston Tucker
Yes.
in the Tucker movie, which is a good movie too. If you want to check that out.
And again, if you are interested in the Tucker automobile, and there's a lot of interesting things about that, the AACA Museum in Hershey has a whole display, permanent display, and I think there's like 3 Tuckers and several engines and chassis, the whole story about it. Very, very well done.
It is actually. I was just there a few weeks ago, and it was a pretty neat exhibit. The cars are neat themselves, but then all the stuff they have built around it
Yes.
is so cool. They have like an office, like the dealer office they recreated, and they have a lot of like his drawings, his blueprints that are available for you to look at. So it's really pretty neat. They put a lot of work into that. So, and then there's a Tucker at Swigert's Museum as well too. So Pennsylvania has
A corner on Tucker.
5 Tuckers in museums
Yeah.
just in Pennsylvania. So after you come here and see the Camaro, then you can go look at the Tuckers.
Right,
Then you're
right,
allowed.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
You have to get a special stamp here first to say that you came to see Jenny the
We gotta
Camaro.
do that. I like
Or
that.
they won't let you in.
Yes.
And while we were, we filmed in the beginning. We had our intro. We talked about the Camaro dresses.
Yeah, David Crystal.
David Crystal. And in between, when we were then, moving to go out there to talk to Zach about his Camaro, we heard from one of our members of the audience a little bit more about David Crystal, that they had, for those of you who remember going shopping up in Reading, they had an outlet near Albright University. Was it a college? Well, whatever. Near Albright.
Yeah.
We should know.
Yeah, we
do.
should.
We do the other TV show up on that campus.
We'll check that out in a couple weeks.
But anyway, yeah, up near Albright campus, they had a David Crystal outlet, and apparently the company made clothes for CBS Sports, which is pretty neat. And I guess they had a lot of, what do you want to call it, like the secondhand or the cast-offs from that kind of stuff for sale up there. And we were told it was kind of not the most well-organized building.
Well,
Or inventory.
apparently it was almost like a warehouse and just boxes full of
Yeah,
stuff, big
and
boxes.
If
You had
you felt like digging.
It's like a rummage sale. You had to
Yeah,
rummage around
kind
to
of.
find this
Exactly.
stuff. So,
But it was the place to go, and pretty cool. I thought that we had no idea there was any local connection.
well, I had no idea who David Crystal
I
was
didn't
or what
either.
David Crystal. And, again, I don't follow those kind of things,
But
he didn't play shortstop for the Yankees or anything, so I'm lost.
who the heck is he?
And now, and already we're getting feedback,
Yeah.
It's
Cool. Turn the camera off and we learn a
instant
story.
feedback, yeah.
Yeah, I like it. This is good. So if you have feedback, please, we'd love to hear it. Send it in. And if it's about a show we have done already, something more information, or if it's something you would like to see, let us know. Give us a call here at the museum. Send us an email. You can always email me stuff, kendra@boyertownmuseum.org. And Dan sees it too. I let Dan see it whenever we get something about the show. We'd love to, hear your thoughts. Well, that's about going to wrap it up for June. But I'll give you one more reminder about our food truck fair, which is coming up very soon, June 17th. And it's noon to 4. It's in the museum parking lot. It's a really neat event. Again, I said, it's a great buy because it's $5 admission that day, which is cheaper than our regular admission, but you still can get into the museum as well. And I wanted to thank, too, we have a lot of sponsors for this event. I especially want to thank Gateway Ticketing Systems, CD's Place, and Eagle Pool and Spa. They're our main sponsors for the event. But thank you to Passmore Service Center, Fred Beans, Everything Printing, Thrivent Financial, Spirited Stones Holistics, Thrive Acupuncture, Rita's of Boyertown, Parks Chiropractic, Pat Veterinary Hospital, Forever Home Animal Rescue, and Adams Royal Car Wash. We are so flattered at all the community support that this event gets, and we really appreciate it. So sponsor those businesses as well for helping us. We'd love for you to go patronize them. So yeah, that's our next big event, Food Truck Fair, June 17th. Lots of great food. And then after that, it's going to be Duryea Day, September 2nd. And thanks to everyone, too, that came out for our Diner Day back in April and our grand reopening in May. Love the support that you've given the museum, especially with our new look.
New look.
Got a few glimpses of that new look this month and last month, too. So come on out and see us. Come out and say hi to Jenny. And drop us a line with your comments, too. We'd love to hear them. So until July, we will see you and have a safe and happy June.